Well, hey guys, welcome to the show this week. This is your host, Hunter McWaters, and it's good to be with you. Today I'm excited about this episode. It's a conversation I feel like it's been a long time coming, and finally got a chance to sit down with ARON SNYDER. And, ARON is a really good guy. He's kind of known as a little bit of like, I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but like a tough guy. But we have a great conversation. I think, he's a really good dude. Dare I even say a softie at heart. We connected on a lot of different topics here and had a great conversation. I think he's a really good guy. And it was great. It was great getting the chance to catch up with ARON. So, as you know, he's super knowledgeable about archery and traditional archery and all things Western hunting. Very experienced dude. And obviously he's the owner of KIFARU. But we didn't really get into a whole lot of that. We actually talked a lot about just kind of life and even some spiritual stuff. And of course we did talk about hunting and the outdoor industry and all of that. So it was just a really good conversation. I think you guys will really enjoy this one. And the verse that I got this week for ARON comes from Joshua 1 verse 9, and it says, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." So that's the verse I got for ARON. I think he's a strong dude, and I think a lot of people have this misconception that Christianity or faith is wimpy or weak. But here we have right here in Joshua, the Lord commanding us to be strong and courageous. And then later in the Bible, I think it's in Revelation, one of the major sins that is listed is cowardice. So if you think Christianity or faith is wimpy, I'd say take another look. But anyway, this is a great conversation with ARON. Also, I do want to mention, you may have seen on social media, but this week, a couple days ago, I released my Wyoming antelope hunt film from last year. It was a really fun, just family hunt that I did with my cousin and my uncle and my dad. Me and my cousin both filled tags. I shot this antelope right here behind me, a nice 70-inch buck on a 1-point unit in a special draw. And my cousin shot his first Western big game animal ever, a nice antelope doe. So, I hope you guys will get a chance to go check it out. Go to my YouTube channel and watch that film. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel and share the film on your social media and tag me, I will send you some The Hunter's Quest stickers in the mail. And also, I'm going to pick one lucky winner out of there. This is the sticker, by the way. You can't really see it, but it's just the logo. You can see it a little bit. But I'll send you some stickers in the mail if you do that. And then I'm going to pick one of you guys, and you're going to get a free 1 year, free for 1 year Go Hunt Explorer membership. That's the mapping software with all 50 states and some really awesome tools on there. So you'll get that free for a year and some other Go Hunt swag like a hat and a t-shirt. So get on there and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Watch that film, comment on it. And if you share that on your social media, on Instagram, and tag me, I will get some stuff in the mail to you. And like I said, I'm going to pick one of you guys. You're going to get a free 1 year membership to Go Hunt Explorer and some Go Hunt swag. So please do that. Also, continue to share the podcast with friends and family. Leave me a review and a rating if you can. It's very helpful. And, if you're picking up gear for the season, Go Hunt Gear Shop has everything you might need in there, and it's curated. It's all good stuff. You can use the code QUEST there and save 20%. Or if you want to pick up a Insider membership or an Explorer membership, use that code QUEST. You'll save 20%. Also, at Initial Ascent, I'm using their backpacks a lot this year, and they really are amazing the way they can carry weight. I'm not just saying that. I've tried lots of different packs, and this one is the most comfortable under heavyweight I've ever tried. So use that code QUEST at Initial Ascent. You'll save some money and support the show. And lastly, Heather's Choice. She just came out with a new full line of delicious, healthy backcountry meals. It's a great company. I love their stuff, and I always feel great after I eat it. So use that code QUEST at Heather's Choice if you're stocking up on backcountry meals for the season. And I'd go ahead and do that now, sooner rather than later, because she tends to sell out as you get closer into the season. So I would grab your stuff now while you can. So yeah, guys, if you use those codes, it helps out the show and saves money, so everybody wins. So do that, and thank you for your support. I hope you guys enjoy this episode with ARON SNYDER. See you next week. We can get going. What's that?
Can I chew on this podcast?
Yeah, it's fine with me. If you can,
don't worry, I won't cuss, man. I'm good when I need to be. So
okay. So yeah. If you can, I don't mind. Like me personally, I don't mind. I just don't want to deal with people emailing me with about F-bombs, and then I'll have to go back and bleep. It's just easier for me.
No, I get it. I've listened to some of your podcasts, so I'm good.
Oh, okay, cool. Let me just do this real quick. Which ones have you heard?
I'm trying to think. Did you do one Dan Staten?
Mm-hmm.
I listened to his. I listened to one with Gritty and another one that I can't remember.
Oh, cool.
Or Brian Barney, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, I did some work with Dan. I went out and filmed a elk hunt with him in New Mexico. He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, man. And I was doing some research today and found this super old video with you and Brian, I think it's from Canada, bow hunting bears. It was just it was funny to see just how different things have become in 6 years or whatever it was since that video came out.
That was the first four-legged animal I shot with a recurve.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah, he was down on the road below me, and I had stopped up and shot it. But yeah, I shot a turkey, but that was the first whatever four-legged creature I shot mammal. With a recurve. It was cool. Yeah, it was a cool. Yeah, something you'll never forget.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, there's some of those hunts that just. I'm working on editing right now. I just started editing is actually this antelope right here, but it was I took my cousin and my dad, my uncle out, and they'd never done any Western hunting, and got my cousin his first Western big game animal, and just the family and stuff that's just one that I'll never forget. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So cool, man. So yeah, I know a lot of people know a lot about you probably, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, but just for my own sake, I'd love to hear just a little bit about your personal background and story. I know you were in the military at one point, correct?
Yeah. Okay. I'm old. That was 25 years ago, 20 years ago. So.
Okay. So yeah, man, but I don't really know anything about you. I'm kind of, I'm pretty new in the Western hunting space. So anyway, yeah, I just love to hear a little bit about your background without going to crazy detail, but just so I know a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So I'm from Oregon originally, my hometown's 200 people. So pretty small in the middle of the Cascades. And,
dude, what is with Oregon? Everyone I talk to lately, so many badass hunters are from Oregon.
Probably when we were a kid, we got good at it when we were young because we didn't know any better. How it was back then, for the most part. But yes, really small community. And I joined the Army when I was pretty young and did a few years in the military. And then I didn't know what I was going to do, so I got out and worked at an archery shop, and they were tuning bows and everything else. And I was young, young 20s. And a guy came in and hired me to work as a commercial glazer, basically doing aluminum and glass and high rises. And I did that for a long time, 10 years, I guess, 12 years. And I had got to a point where I was running a relatively large, glass shop, but during that time, I was writing some outdoor articles and doing gear reviews and things like that. And, guess around 2011 or 12, I kind of made a decision I was going to try to make it in the outdoors. Maybe not the industry, but whether it was guiding or whatever. I just wanted to be a little bit different back then than now. I get messages that, talking all day about, hey, I'm working in the outdoor industry. And that wasn't my goal. I wanted to just be outdoors. And,
Yeah.
and that was kind of my goal, was a way to be outside all the time. And anyway, I took kind of a leap and I ended up working for KIFARU. I'm condensing this down.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of like a very small amount of pay to help them out with designs, things like that. And did that for, a few years. And then, in 2015 or 16, I met Brian Call and I did a podcast with him. And at that time, the only podcast I really knew of was Rogan's. I wasn't really, I'm pretty introverted. A lot of people probably have a weird opinion of me or even a bad, because I'm pretty quiet and I don't very good in public places. When I get to know you, I can't shut up or whatever, but he got open up and talk a little bit. He and I became friends, and then he and I did the Gritty podcast for a while, and I ended up becoming the president, general manager, CEO, whatever you want to call it, at KIFARU around 2014. And I do a lot of other stuff: photography, military training, survival, like seminars on land navigation, things like that, and guide off and on as well. And then in 2020, I guess ish, my business partner and I purchased KIFARU. I recently started a clothing company as well. Like I didn't have enough to deal with, or not started, part with a group of guys to start a clothing company. But the biggest thing that a lot of times I was in the field 150 days or nights a year. Always enjoyed being outdoors and shooting my bow and very challenge driven. Like with the recurve, I did that really just to prove a point. I just shot at the ASA Classic World Championship thing, and the hardest class there was, just to see how I would do.
Oh, nice. How'd you do?
Super. My goal was to finish mid pack. I was just below that, but considering it was my first tournament in 20 years, I didn't take in the bottom 10. I didn't shoot to what I hoped I would, but it was fun. I think I shot a 410, so 10 up for the weekend.
Nice.
And it was good. I just got kind of mentality where I always like to be challenged, and so I'm always, trying to, like photography. That barely graduated high school, so I thought I'd become a photographer. I learned it on YouTube. So
That's cool, man.
So that's the shortest version I can tell.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, lots to unpack there, but I know, like you were saying before we started recording, you guys just moved to Wyoming. So how's that been so far? You liking it out there?
Yeah, we would have moved to. We moved to Riverton. We're just outside of Riverton, my house. Yeah, a lot less people, a lot less stress, and amazing place, amazing people. Just it's been great. I mean, the move's been a pain in the butt, obviously. Uh, um, Sorry, I just got a text. My buddy's wife injured herself. Anyway, I moving an entire company with several $1 million in product and multiple families was stressful, but we got it done. We're getting ready to start shipping again, so that's been awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And like Wyoming is much more friendly to resident hunters in Colorado, is it not? Like you guys can get more tags and have more opportunity, can't you?
Yeah, harder. Like a counter tag for a resident would be maybe shooting point draw for a non-resident. So they're very good residents here.
Yeah. Dude, your service is pretty bad. We might want to try it without video, unfortunately, or maybe switch to Wi-Fi and try it or something, but you're breaking up kind of bad on me. There you go. Can you hear me? You there? Yellow. You're on mute. There
I
you go.
don't know what I did there, but there you
There you
go.
go. You were on mute. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right, cool, man. So yeah, we were just talking about the opportunity out in Wyoming as compared to Colorado. Is it better for residents out there?
Yeah, it's a lot better. What would be a 6 or 7 point draw, I think, is like over the counter for residents.
Oh,
So yeah.
nice. Plus, like, they're do you think this 90-10 thing's gonna happen?
Wyoming's real big on their outfitters, so I would say yes, probably they take very good care of their outfitters. So
So, do you think that's gonna mean that like a non-resident? So, for me, I've been building points for a few years in Wyoming. Do you think that basically that's gonna like just take my chances of drawing anything in Wyoming down to almost nothing starting next year if it takes effect?
it certainly sounds like it could. I'm not the best person for this. Like I just got up here and
Yeah, true.
not really familiar with the ins and outs, but yeah, it doesn't look good.
Yeah. Dang, man. Well, so yeah, what did you do in the army?
I was a combat engineer. It's like a kind of infantry explosives.
Oh, nice, nice. Um, well, I was watching one of your I'm gonna just go ahead and jump right in, just get a little philosophical on you here. But I was watching one of your films, and I noticed one of your tattoos has warrior on your arm. And so I knew you've been in the military, but what would you say is like the difference between a soldier and a warrior, or what makes a warrior?
I don't know. It actually says mountain warrior. I was in the
Uh,
10th Mountain Division. So,
but what makes a mountain warrior?
I mean, as far as that, like that was so long ago in my life or whatever. Like, I don't think that you need to be a soldier to be a warrior, I guess. But I guess that wasn't the meaning of the tattoo anyway. But having that never give up mentality, I think is something maybe lost. Being is more lost nowadays
Yeah,
than I would like to see it. Meaning, and that doesn't mean in a fight or climbing a hill or it's like stick to it, I guess, or stick whatever you call that, like just
yeah,
sticking with something
yeah,
that you love until you've tried to master it, or not giving up on a hard task or whatever. Not really the question you asked, but kind of parallels it. I think that there's a lot of participation trophies nowadays and things like
hmm,
that give reasons for people to quit early or to settle. And I think that you should try to never settle. And when I say settle, your very best may be eighth place. Your very best may be 20 minutes to the top of a hill and someone else is 14. But if you've given it all you've got, you know that.
mm,
You know that inside, and that's all that matters, right? If you've given it, like I'm never going to probably dunk a basketball again. And, whatever, pick it. I'm never going to be good at golf. But if I pick something like archery or photography or fishing or whatever, to put as much into it as you can, if it's something you love, and if that's mastering it or just being as good as you can be, if you've done that internally, that it's something to be proud of. And I think that's a little bit more lost nowadays, uh, because of the world we live in. And I hate that.
yeah, for sure, man. That sounds like kind of like what you're doing with the archery thing is just kind of getting out there and challenging yourself and just doing the best you can. Probably just for the enjoyment of it and the challenge, like you said, right?
Mm-hmm. That's one good thing about archery. It's a very individual sport, and you when you fail, it's because of you.
Yeah,
Whether you missed or blew a stock, whatever the case may be, you did it. And there's a lot of, I don't know if you want to say gratification, but there's a lot of good feelings that come of achieving a goal, whether that goal be hiking into a place to go backpacking, or that goal be putting an animal on the ground, or whatever that is, making an impossible stock. Even if the animal blew out, if you got sub 10 yards, gratification in that. There's like, okay, I did it, move on to the next thing, and just keep challenging yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think you're headed more in a direction of, or like, are you more excited by the archery stuff and the competitive shooting now, or is hunting still where your heart's at, or what do you think about that? I lost them again.
You're good. I had you muted somehow, if you can believe
Oh, okay.
that. No, not tournament archery. I just did that to, go shoot. I'm going to shoot some more tournaments, but hunting is, where my heart's at, and
Yeah.
the outdoors.
Okay, good, man. Well, you mentioned a few things in your kind of like brief intro, about starting off as like a low-level employee at KIFARU and then one day eventually buying it. And, you've done a lot kind of in your career and accomplished a lot, in the competitive archery, the hunting. Some would say you're somewhat of like an influencer slash content creator. You're also a business owner. What are some things, that you'd be saying to a guy like me? And like you said, I know you get a lot of questions about people who want to get into the industry and stuff like that. And people like me who are starting out and hoping to try to make a name for themselves, but do it in the right way. Like, what are some of the, I guess, looking back, the best decisions that you kind of feel like you made, or things you learned along the way that served you? And then maybe even like, what are some things that you, looking back, might have done differently?
I'd say one like been very important to me, and more recently is remember who got you to where you are, and being very grateful, for that. My business partner now, he could tell me to go shoot myself in the foot, and I would do it because his best, he has the best intentions for me. Patrick Smith, the gentleman I bought KIFARU from with my business partner, it wasn't always like roses with, certain things in the business and his family, but he was always so good to me. And I had a lot of job offers with other companies, a lot more money and ownership and everything else. And I would have never been in the position I was in. So leaving him just wasn't an option. And it was it was placed in front of me many, many times. And, for me, especially being a knucklehead when I was a kid, I didn't go through college or any, I didn't have anything like that. Like, really taking a step back and realizing, if someone, you look at Carl Malone, for example, in his contracts, it was a handshake agreement, and there were times they couldn't pay him what other companies were offering him, but he was so loyal because of that bond or that friendship. I think realizing at times, for example, as of today, there's a gentleman that has been very good to KIFARU. He's never asked us for any money. And I'm making a decision to support some of the companies he deals with, because he helped us get us to where we are. And I owe it to him to return that favor and to show my loyalty back to him. And, you think about it, if somebody gets you to a point, and this is obviously a pretty broad statement. I mean, not everything's perfect, but meaning, I'll take Brian Call. You're friends with Brian. I'll always be grateful to Brian. Brian helped me come out of my shell. Brian helped me become more known in the industry. And Brian, I'll always have respect for Brian, for that, for that reason. And there's other times in the industry that things I see happen that I'd really like to talk to someone and say, hey, man, I don't know the ins and outs of this, but I do know what that person has done for you. And you may see larger paychecks or things that guy's not offering you, but you would not have those opportunities with an individual. And you need to remember that, because later on when things go south, that person has already proven he's down for the cause. He's there for the long term, and he's going to be there when you're poor. He's going to be there when you do something stupid. He's going to have your back no matter what. And even though this other person may be offering you more money or hunts or I don't know, whatever, they may not be there when times are hard. And I've tried to surround myself with people Greg Poole, you may not know who he is. Greg Poole is someone that you either like him or hate him. He's in the industry, and I'll ride with Greg until he drives off a cliff, and then I'll call my wife down. Like, I'm not leaving that dude's side, because that dude has always been by my side, always. So that would be something I would say that I've learned, that sometimes you need to take a big step back, remember who you are, how you got there, and make sure that you follow through with that for the people that got you there. That's a big one. And I would say, as far as mistakes I've made, not doing that would be one of them. And real quick, I learned that was one thing that would be a mistake. And I learned a long time ago, over a decade ago, more than that you got to try to dance with the one that brought you. And sometimes people have the mentality, if the ends justify the means, it's worth it. But you got, long term, maybe not, right? And it is just archery. It is just the outdoors.
Yeah.
In the end, you got the people around you, and that's all you've got. And I would say the most important thing for me is my employees are like family to me, and my friends. I would do anything for them, and my family in general. And if everything was gone tomorrow, that's what I've got. I've got them, right? So I don't know if that answers your question, but
No, that's great, man. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, especially any industry, but in a lot of ways in our industry, it's a small community, and a lot of people have burned bridges and stuff like that, and it's tough. And a lot of people are always, at the end of the day, in it for what they can get from you, right? But it sounds like, what you're saying is loyalty is really just is key.
Yeah, and I mean, not to go too great depths with this. I don't know you from Adam. We talked on social media a couple of times, but there are times that in the industry and life in general. Again, when you are, I have been offered a lot of money at times to use a specific product, and I liked the product, but I had another product I was using because of a friendship and a brotherhood and a loyalty that I chose not, to take the money. May have needed the money, but in the end, it is just money, and loyalty and friendship stand the test of time. Money can be burnt. You know what I mean? Money doesn't make, money doesn't comfort you when you've broken a leg and you need a ride to the store. Money isn't, you can't call money when you're feeling down or lonely. Right. But you can call a friend, right? You can call someone that knows you, to the deepest, darkest parts of your inside, like everything about you. And you can talk to him. You can't talk to money. I'm saying money isn't, but it's not everything. And I mean, I can't stress that enough. And the more I see things that go on in the industry today, is interesting for me to watch. And honestly, I can't wait to get out of it. My exit strategy is literally, I never planned on being in the position I was in. I never wanted to be known. And I can say, I think any of my friends would know that is 100% true. I post on social media. I like to help people. I like to teach, but is I get to read about myself on forums all the time on things that I don't even know how you could make them up. And that hurts. It sucks, right? But it's like, really, I want to help people. I want to get people more fishing and hunting, fishing, sports, fitness, whatever, make better life decisions. And, when you got to read about yourself at times, you're like, life was a lot simpler when I just went hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, with any kind of notoriety or success, I mean, there's always going to be people out there that are jealous or hating on you or whatever, and that's unfortunate. There's so much, like, I don't know what it is, but it seems like an undue amount of toxicity among hunters. I mean, I don't know what's up with that.
I don't know. I was just getting screenshots about myself on rock slide that were made in China, and that's why we're delayed in shipping. We were delayed in shipping because our stuff was in a storage container when we moved to Wyoming, right? But only company now that is made in the U.S. everything. But I'm reading a thread where people are like, "Oh yeah, they are made in China," and I'm like, that's one, and then other. I mean, obviously, I've read about other people as well. And it's like, I know that person. I know that's not true. But when the more known you get, let's take Cam Haynes. He's a friend. What bad has Cam done for the industry? I mean, I can't think of anything myself. Now, I don't agree with everything Cam says. I'm not going to go run without drinking water, but, motivate people. Can't, he's a very motivational person. He gets an unquantifiable amount of people into the outdoors.
Yeah.
And he gets hated on than anyone I know. But he also has a million, followers. So, and he's a good dude. I mean, he's a good guy, hardworking and everything else. He gets a lot of hate. I don't know why. If he wants to run with his shirt off, more power to him. I'll give him shit for doing it. I don't care what he does. Right? He's a buddy. But
didn't you say? I heard. Didn't you say like you've seen his nipples more than your wife's or something?
I did.
That's funny.
Well, yeah, I'm a smart ass, but or Alex, sorry. I think that you take someone, Rogan, for example. He gets hated on constantly, and I know that dude well. He is a good human. He is a good person, and the world less without him. And he gets hated on constantly. He's bad for hunting. He's a horrible hunter. He goes on guided hunts, whatever. And it's like, to put that much effort. I just recently saw there was a hate page started about me, I
like a whole page just for hating on you.
Pretty directed towards me, and one of them is I'm a steroid freak, and it's like, well, I'd like to have the body of one right now. I was on years ago, and the other one is it doesn't matter, but it's like, what kind of life does that person live? That's what they do, right? Like,
right.
It's pretty crazy. So it is toxic, but it's life, right? I mean, what are you going to do? Go shoot, lift weights, like not much else.
Yeah, I try to just like, even when it comes to like outside the industry, just like the news or whatever, like I just don't watch the news, or like I try to, I mean, I guess there's a line there. You want to know what's going on, but at the same time, like I just try to ignore the stuff as much as I can. And I'm not big enough to really get much hate, at least not that I've seen anyway. So I don't have to deal with that. But
it'll come.
I'm sure somebody hates me out there, but whatever. So I mean, I was really debating on asking, and I was going to avoid it, but since you brought it up, what happened with you and Brian?
Nah, just different people. Brian's a good dude. I don't. He and I's personalities are a lot different. But when he went, he was going to go work with Mountain Ops. It was like, hey, I'm going to go do my own thing, and it was semi-amicable and amicable at that time, and it went a little bit south. But the reality is, on my end anyway, I can't speak for Brian. If you're like brass tacks of it, he's black and I'm white, right? Like we are polar opposites differently. And I can hang out with Brian personally every day, hunting with him. We just hunt differently. But, and again, I don't know what he would say exactly, but I have zero issues with Brian. I mean, he has said things at times that I dislike, or probably would have conked him in the head at the time for saying it or whatever. But I mean, that's life. People say things when they're threatened, or you know what I mean, or whatever. But yeah, I would say two personalities. He wanted to go one direction, and I didn't want to go that. Not that his direction was bad, right? It's just a matter of, whatever. Hey, let's go swimming in the ocean. Well, I'm scared of sharks, right? I mean, whatever. It just wasn't something I wanted to do. But and things went a little bit, south on both ends on that. But I mean, Brian's a good guy. He motivates people. I don't really pay too much attention on what he's doing. I don't pay attention a lot of what people are doing, not because it's Brian. But he tries to motivate people in the outdoors and stuff like that. And that's what you want to do, right? So,
yeah, man. So like, I know you said earlier, like, you're the kind of guy that like you never really sought after like notoriety and stuff like that. And, I have, it's funny because like one of my hunting partners, one of my best buddies is like, always like constantly bashing on like hunting influencers and stuff like that. And so, but there is this like conundrum, right, of like, you you don't want to be, you want to represent hunting in a positive light. You don't want to be like, I don't know, whatever negative connotation comes with the word influencer, you don't want to be that, right? But at the same time, like there is, like, I have a genuine desire to tell stories about hunting and share and like you said, motivate people and I like producing hunting films. Like some people, like I was just, when I was on the phone or before I got on with you, I was working on editing this little antelope hunt for probably just going to be for me and my family because my cousin shot me shooting the antelope and it's all overexposed and like unusable. But I might share it. But I just genuinely enjoy it. But like, what's that dynamic been for you, or like how do we, how can we represent hunting well and not be what all these guys that hate on hunting influencers hate? Like how do we do that?
I mean, I'm doing it. I think. I mean, when I look at it, I don't promote bad products. I don't promote hate, right? I mean, when I say that, Brian's a good example. He doesn't either, or Dan Staten or Stealthy, right? Or Cam, I don't pick it, right? And the way I look at things is really black and white. Are you doing it for the right reasons, right? Which is important, which is getting people outdoors, enjoying things, right? Okay. Or are you doing it for just to get free crap? Okay, that. The next one is, are you influencing in a positive light hunting, right? At times, I probably would say maybe not on my end, just for maybe I might post a shot that I am trying to teach people, maybe shot placement or something that, it's informational, but, might look bad for hunting because it is, out there for the world to see. But are you trying to promote hunting in a positive light? Are you trying to teach and educate with good info from wisdom, not just knowledge, but wisdom? Like you've been there to explain to someone the potential outcome if something happens to them, meaning a bad shot or tracking or storms or whatever. Mm-hmm. If you're doing all those things, I really don't care. Like if your buddy was standing in front of me, he's like, you're an influencer, I hate you. I would be like, all right, lay it on me. Why? Okay, well, I mean, you just try to promote yourself. Well, I mean, if you're promoting anything and you're in it, you're by default promoting yourself. Well, it's like, okay, well, I don't get much money from this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you get paid from KIFARU. Yeah, well, yeah, I own it. I do need to post informational stuff about the packs. One, for sales, two, because people need to know how to fit a pack. And right. So I get a kick out of it. And don't get me wrong, like I understand there are some influencers out there doing it for the wrong reasons, but I mean, for the love of God, it could be worse. I get a kick. Whitetail Fit, I like that guy. He gets hated on a ton. Does he bring a cameraman around to tech? Yeah, that's his thing. He does like YouTube videos and stuff, but that's a good dude. He's a good person. Now, does he do it to get his name out there some? Probably, but he's not doing it for bad reasons, in the sense of he's not trying to hurt anyone. He's not giving out bad info. And he's a good dude. He's a good person. And I get made fun of for being a friend with him and defending him. And it's like, well, what are we doing here? We got starving people. The economy's crashing. I just paid $5.80 a gallon for diesel. And we're worried if Whitetail Fit had a fake reaction when he shot a whitetailer. I mean, it's like, really? Like, that's what we've gone to as a human race? Like, it baffles me at times, because I've been to pretty bad parts of the world where, they eat what we throw away. And here we're worried about some chick hanging her boobs out on social media, and that person, and we, there's certain people that make fun of guys' wives, right? That's sacred. That's your wife. And, there's specific pages just bashing, like defending whatever they're defending. And it's like, well, what are you really actually defending? Like, if you made a motivational page, would that do, how better would that do than a hate page? And some of them are funny. Don't get me wrong, like Archery Hooligan. I love that page. That's funny. But there's other ones where, like, when there's a line crossed, like, if somebody, I wouldn't, it would be bad, right, if somebody started bringing my wife into the mix and things like that. And it's just uncalled for and unneeded. I just don't see a reason for that, try to stay positive. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, for me, like, I could if money was my motivation, I wouldn't be doing this. Like, there's way other things I could have done, if I wanted to make money. And like, for me, it just comes down to simply, I just want to do what I love and make a living for my family. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird we live in, so
Yeah.
I try not to get too the things. I just think that when you wake up in the morning and take off for the day, is your first thought, who am I going to post about negatively? Or is your first thought, how am I going to help the world and make it a better place? If your first thought is, how can I find another meme to make fun of someone? Probably not good. I'm not a
Yeah.
psychologist, right? I got all kinds of issues, but um, try to keep a little bit more in a positive light. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I think of is I got to feed my dogs, and I hope I don't. And after that, I'm like, okay, I need to wake up and work out. And then in the middle of that, I'm like, okay, I got to go answer, all the questions I have on Instagram or whatever, just tuning. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I should probably make a post today at some point because it's social media. Okay, what cool photo can someone see that might motivate them, whether it's a backdrop or a mountain scene or a tent, or what might generate some content for people to ask questions. I was thinking about getting that tent, or just simple stuff. And as simple as it is, holding the door for people, saying yes ma'am or thank you. Like, someone's struggling and can't afford their food. This just happened yesterday at the grocery store, or I don't even know if they could afford their food. Their credit card didn't work. Being a good human, pay for that, right?
Mm.
Got the money, pay for that. The world is not a bad place if you're doing that. And they could be a drug addict. Well, they could, and maybe they'll buy drugs, but I help them. You know what I mean? Maybe their kid's going to eat. I like Jesus. And there's other people that wake up like, how can I make someone's life miserable? I feel bad for who they are internally. Like, that's got to be a rough life to live.
Yeah, man, for sure. I think there's a lot of jealousy out there that probably fuels a lot of it. Um, but and you may have just touched on it a little bit, but like, whether it's what you planned on or not, you have accomplished a lot in your life in terms of in the industry and with your company and personally. But even like on a larger scale, like just in terms of being a human, not necessarily industry, like what is your purpose?
Man, I would say maybe my wife would say teaching, instructing, and I'm an instructor for various different facets of life, I guess. Like, I like teaching people. I like helping people. I really enjoy that. I think the other thing too, by default, was to try to motivate people, because there's a blue collar guy that was raised in pretty close to poverty and lived in a 1-bedroom apartment until recently, that you can do it, right? You can do anything. Somebody that said I couldn't shoot a recurve. What I did with the recurves, neither here nor there, right? Like, whether I killed 5 animals, 1 animal, or 500, I showed people it could be done, right? I
Yeah.
showed people you could do if you put your mind to something, and not, in the sense of like, not that, oh, I shot 150 animals a year with a recurve. I showed that you could do something that maybe wasn't perceived as attainable. And you'll hear people, well, you get to hunt more. Well, how did I get to do that? That's also attainable, right? Like, let's face it, right? I worked construction for the majority of my life. It is attainable. So I'm like, yeah, no, I do get to hunt a lot. Now step back and ask yourself how I did that, right? And I'm not saying like that's as a me. I'm trying to say like, hey, you put your mind to something, you can do it, right? You not well within reason. I'm not going to be, whatever Michael Jordan in basketball, but like, if your goal literally is to go on a Dall sheep hunt in Alaska, save money, you can do that. Work side jobs, quit drinking. I don't know. You can do it if you put your mind to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope I've done a good job showing that you really can, if you put your mind to it, you can do. I mean, look, I became a relatively good photographer. Do I look like a photographer? Right? Does my background in photography? But I love photography so much from an outside perspective that I learned it literally from YouTube and asking questions. And if I had to stop hunting tomorrow, I would have no issue being a photographer full time. I love photography. Fishing. If that's what makes you happy, yeah. I mean, are you going to go fish in the BASS tour? Probably not, but you might. But if you started at a young age and that's your dream, you don't have to have a physical ability to go fishing, right? You don't have to dunk a ball.
Right.
You don't have to 500 pounds. Put your mind to it, save money, get a boat. I think that would be something. Maybe, I don't know if that's my calling, but I've maybe shown people.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And you seem like you have a pretty strong like moral compass. Do you believe in God or have any kind of faith or spirituality?
No, not now. Not really something. Probably I get choked up. I recently lost a friend. His name was Cody Mooney. It was a couple of years ago, and he was a very spiritual person, a very good human, and I mean good to the core. Like, you watch a movie and somebody puts their heart on their chest, they're like, "All right, you may pass. You're pure of soul." That was Cody. He had 4 kids, and his wife was 5 months pregnant. And 5 months pregnant, he died of a brain tumor, and an extremely whatever I had left was gone after that.
Wow.
My more not generated by religion. I think it's generated. And I've heard people tell me, "Well, good men don't make it to heaven, saved men do." Well, I know a lot of crooked saved men. So are they truly saved?
True.
I walk down the road of life, and a left turn is a bad decision, or not helping, and a right turn is a good one. I try to make a lot of right turns, and I don't always make right turns, but I try. And sometimes I'll make a left turn and get a few feet down, and might have to come back, eat a little crow, and apologize, and then make a right turn. But I think as you grow older and you realize, as time goes on, again, like whatever your faith is, it doesn't, Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, I don't, a Mormon, whatever. If you're a good person, you're a good person. And I just try to be the best person I can, be. And I think that my moral compass really stems off as simple as, if there's a dog in the road, I am turning my truck sideways, no matter if it gets hit, because I want that dog to live. I don't want that dog to get hurt. Where most people would drive by, if there's someone possibly going to be in a dangerous situation on the side in a parking lot, I am not the person that's going to walk by. I'm going to try to help someone weaker than me because I have that ability. It's just being a good human. Now, as I say that, I cuss like a sailor. That's not good, right? I mean, that's not a good thing, but I think at the end of the day, I would take a bullet for anybody I care about. And I'm really, kids are a big thing with me, like teaching kids and helping them out, hanging out with them, and really working with some troubled youth. And I will say I have a violent side. If I see someone being what I perceive as abusive to a kid, yeah, there's a chance I'll break an arm, and a very high chance that'll happen. And same with women. I see someone abusing a woman, whether it be verbally or physically, it'll be a bad day for that individual. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
I would say, I mean, that's protective. That's good. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen people freak out from it because it's well, not freak out, but it's like, we'll call the police, and I'm like, well, they're not here. Things like that, where I've stepped in situations. But yeah, that's me. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'm not gonna change. And when when I say I can be violent, I think violence is a good thing. I do truly think if you can hone that is part of being a man. I don't think that a weak person is a good person. I think, in fact, I hate, because I used to say this, and now there's like a video that goes across social media now, saying the same thing. But weak people aren't necessarily good people, or a strong person isn't a bad person. I think if you're a protective person, I think if you're someone that is doing what's right for the greater good, that is what is part of being a man. And I don't want to female male thing. If a woman's the same way, but if I have the physical ability and the discipline and training to help someone, by default, I am obliged to do that. And a lot of people walk by, and that drives me crazy. It does.
No, I think that's good, man. I think that's, something that's part of you for a reason. And, a lot of society has gone to teaching that, like toxic masculinity or whatever and all this garbage. But no, I mean, that's part of what makes a man is to protect those that are weaker. So I mean, I think that's good. And you mentioned your buddy, and like that's so tough. And like I just did a really good podcast with Tier from Black Rifle, and he had a similar answer to that question. Just seeing some of the stuff that he's seen, in battle and stuff like that make it really hard to believe in a good God. And that's like the number one issue that turns like most people away from faith. And I just like to, I always just tell people it's not the fix all answer or anything like that. I don't have the answers to everything, but I believe that God's good, and things that happen that are not good are from the enemy, and we have an enemy. He's real. He's bad. I don't believe everything that happens is God's will. I think, your buddy dying, I think that was the enemy, and anyway, so that's tough, man. I'm sorry to hear about that. But, what do you think? You have this drive in you for goodness and to be good and to do good. Where do you think that drive comes from within you to do good?
Hopefully my mom doesn't listen to this. I had a fairly rough childhood. And not because of my mom, but one of the reasons I have trouble failing is probably daddy issues with, my dad maybe not going to sporting events or, whatever. And, obviously getting, abusive type stuff, whatever, getting hit with boat paddles and shit. Seeing a kid that knowing what I went through at certain times and things, and what my mom went through, I would say that, I would say that's it. It's ingrained in I stereotypically would be maybe look like a bully, where I actually protected weaker people. And I don't know that was in my DNA before, but I would say if I had a gun to my head, say it was in not a good way, my childhood. I think also, which I've spoken with some experts about this, that one of the reasons I'm able to go to a very violent place very quickly, instead of, fight or flight, is that mechanism to lose all fear to a certain degree. And I'm not trying to sound like Billy Badass at all. But, to be able to physically and mentally lose all fear to protect someone or protect your family or your business or, whatever, that would be my childhood.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you had a rough childhood, man. But anyway, I mean, at least some good has come out of it, and to making you a better person, maybe.
I don't have any issue. I think coming to terms with the fact that it made me tougher. It made me literally be able to make it through anything. And it made me a very good and protective, person all the way around. I wouldn't change anything. If someone else is having, some of those issues or whatever, I would say it's on you to take that lion's share of the load and suck it up, move on, and then make sure you've made from your experiences, make sure you make, other people's lives better for that reason. One of the reasons I really like hanging out with kids is to mentor them, one, to be, maybe be a little bit tougher, maybe try a little bit harder, but also to let them know that, hey, there are good people in the world that are looking out for your best interests. And no matter what, they have someone to call, even if it's an 8-year-old kid or an 18-year-old kid or whatever, that they have someone to potentially turn to. And it could be just shooting a bow, or it could be I'm in trouble. I believe that there are certain humans and individuals on the planet that are that should be doing that, whether are they or not. And that's one thing I will say, like with Brian Cole, he's very good at that. He's very, good as far as motivational and good around kids and everything else. And there's some people that probably should drive off a cliff tomorrow and are taught, around. And I know that that's not a very Christian thing to say. But I would say you would have a hard time convincing me that's not true. I know people that have done nothing good ever. And, so it's like, do you need that guy around? I mean, maybe he should have got Delta, right? Maybe he should have got COVID or something like that guy. So, and I keep that in mind too, like on a day-to-day basis, trying to make a decision. Again, as simple as letting someone take your spot in line, or hey, telling someone without sounding like a pervert, like, hey, if you lose weight, you're looking good. Good job. You know, like making someone feel better about where they're at in life, and having a lot of friends that have committed suicide and things like that. It could be one comment away or one phone call they could have made, and also it's tough for guys to open up. This has been the most open I've ever been on a podcast, which is strange. I don't even know you, but you're asking questions, so whatever. I have a hard time opening up when they have issues, and I get it because I do. But letting someone know and having security in that relationship, that brotherhood, that bond, that at any time they can tell you anything is important. And I get a lot of people that message me that and it's heartwarming to me because like, hey, man, I was literally ready to shoot myself. I listened to a podcast with some of the issues you've had or what you've dealt with. Man, I've pulled through, and I can't thank you enough. Knowing that helps me stay on social media rather than off, because it's not like I'm not portraying myself as a savior, but if somebody hears I was sleeping on a air mattress in a 1-bedroom apartment, eating tuna because I didn't have any money and made it, and they're at that point and wondering what to do, and they can message me, that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah. No, man, I think that's good. I think you are doing good. I can definitely see the desire in you to teach, just with all that, when you open up for questions and you get like a million questions that I don't even understand what you guys are talking about. Like, the world needs different types. There are people who their personality, like they might gravitate more towards like a Brian Call, and then some guys who identify more with you. But, I think God made you a certain way on purpose and for a reason, and for a good reason. I think you're a good dude. So appreciate you being open.
Yeah, no problem. Hold on.
Everything all right?
Yeah, my wife or my mom was trying to call me. I'm trying to hang up on her here. Hold on.
You're good, man.
I don't know. We'll just wait till it's over. I don't know how to hang up. All right, there we go.
That's okay.
I think you're right though, because like when I talked about like with Brian, and I hope he doesn't mind that I'm bringing him up or talking about us, is Brian is a different personality. Brian's more. He had 7 sisters, right? He's more compassionate than I am by far, by a long stretch. And I'm more of a guy that if someone's struggling, I'm more of a, hey, and kick them, like, get up, dude, rub some dirt in your crotch and get up the hill, like, suck it up. Is that good? Maybe for some, right? Maybe not for others, right? And so I don't think Brian's way is bad or good or whatever, nor on mine. It's just a different personality is going to cater more towards me, military, construction worker, whatever, and one will cater towards the other. And I've got no issue with that. I think if everybody owned a red car, it'd be a pretty boring world. But I think without a me or a Brian or Pickett, Remy Warren or the Meat Eater or whoever, we're all there for different, reasons. And it's, I guess the way I look at it on a day-to-day basis is I just need to stay in my own lane and do my best. I've got enough crap to, you know what I mean? Like I don't need to worry about anybody else is doing other than make myself as good as I can be and help other people. So.
Yeah, man. I think you're doing good. So, oh man, so many ways I could go right now, and I know we're coming close on time, so I don't want to take too much of your time. But
I'm in the world. Don't worry about that. I didn't know what I was getting into here, so I just I set aside like 4 hours or whatever.
Nice. Well, lucky for you, I don't think I can even go that long. But you mentioned Doll sheep hunt. Have you done that hunt?
Yeah, I've done one. I've guided several. I've been on a bunch, but I did one many years ago. But I've been in NWT quite a bit in Alaska a couple times on hunts with people. I'm not a big sheep guy. Like I'll go on bighorn hunts and help people. Sometimes I'll get contracted out to do that, but I'm pretty plain Jane dude. I like mule deer and elk and whitetail. I really do like mountain goat hunting. That's one of my more favorite hunts. I would say if I had to choose, it would be mountain goat, mule deer, whitetail, then elk. A few years ago, it would have been different, but I've hunted elk so much that whitetail has blown by elk
Yeah.
hunting. I get to hunt good land, so I'm not saying public land whitetail. I get whitetail, but when you change things up, for example, like let's say you fish trout for 20 years and somebody brought you into a muskie, you might become a muskie fisherman quick and not worry about trout. Well, for me, for years hunting elk and mule deer, whatever, there's nothing better than throwing up some sticks, getting 15, 16 feet up in the air, and all of a sudden hearing crunching and a buck coming straight to you, and literally just typewriter leg kicks in. And it's the only way for me to have that adrenaline anymore hunting. I'm always have adrenaline, I always get excited, but the level of hard to control, I don't get anymore except for whitetails. And I can, and I don't spot and stalk. My heart rate doesn't even go up. And when I say that, that's not like I don't find it fun. I've had people say that, why are you even hunting them? I can just control my emotions. So keep it in your pants for whoever's listening in. Like I still have excitement, but I'm talking about uncontrollable leg shaking. That me with whitetail, especially when I can see them coming from a long ways out.
Yeah, maybe it has something to do with being able to channel some of that energy into, going on that stalk or climbing that hill or whatever. But dude, I'm the same way, and said changing it up. I think one reason why I'm so attracted to Western hunting is because I've spent so much time in a tree stand. But still, you're right, man. When that freaking buck walks in bow range, it's hard to control the heart. I mean, it is one of the most adrenaline pumping things I think you can probably experience.
Well, and I've shot a lot of whitetail, and I'm not a whitetail hunter. I do what I'm told, and I generally hit what I'm aiming at, but I'm not that. Hey, will you look at my land? I'm like, yep, your house is there. There's some woods over there. That's not me. I'm not going to tell you where to put a food plot, but I shot I think it was 172-inch whitetail in Texas and the Panhandle way up north on the border of Oklahoma. And I got bashed for this when I actually Texas heart shot it 8 yards away.
Wait, with a bow?
Yeah.
Wow, I've never seen the Texas heart shot with a bow.
Yeah,
it works, huh?
Very lethal, yes. And me knowing how lethal it was, and it was that close, and it was a situation.
So were you aiming right for literally the butthole?
Yeah, I died in 40 yards. Yeah. So there's a pyloric artery that runs down the bottom of the body line and then cuts up in front of the rear quarter. It's literally like hitting a femoral artery, or the heart.
Interesting. I've done it with a rifle, but I've never seen anybody do it with a bow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very lethal. Anyway, that deer, for example, amongst many other whitetails, popped up. That one came out of Salt Cedars at 45 yards. And I literally am talking to myself at a level of trying to keep my crap together, because it's loud, right? There's not much wind. And so when it came, every right place, right time, because in North Texas, way up in the Panhandle, which is kind of like Oklahoma, Kansas area, way up there, you can only shoot one buck per county. So I was county hopping, shooting all this deer. My buddy who I hunt and I guide for was like, hey, remember where you shot? I shot an Aoudad up there. And he's like, remember where we parked? And I'm like, no, not really. No. And he's here, and he showed me on Google Maps, not on X. And so I went in and kind of wandered around, and it was snowing. Found the tree stand, and there's no corn at this. This was just a stand he had in that county on that land, and got up there, and I put my rattling antlers together to bounce them on the ground because there wasn't a lot of back cover, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to see me. So of course I'm screwing around on social media. I look up 45, 50 yards out, this buck, and it's got an 11-inch eye guard coming out, and he's got wizard hands, these big swollen fingers on the one side.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, couldn't. Well, I literally am like, okay, my bow is hanging up. This is not good, right? And so he was postured up, because he heard that rattling. He circled all the way around me in the right place, right time. Thermals were coming straight up, and I was using those wind drifters, like milkweed,
Uh-huh.
and it was cranking up. And so I'm like, okay, well, I got a chance, right? This might happen. When he circled to the left of me, I was on kind of an oxbow, and right when he did, I set my bow on my phone on my lid of my pack, grabbed my bow, and I could hear him walking, and I didn't hear any muscling up or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm to the threshold. He's about to come to the doorway. Like, we're close. He circled all the way around, and I had a chance of a walking side shot and him seeing me, or I already arranged everything. Was kind of the bottom, and he came up out of that oxbow and was on the island. It was dry. Well, that island was 8 yards from me. And when he came to that island, he was even with me. And I was like, the moment he hits that oxbow, I had made a conscious decision, rather than potentially muscling him up, getting alert, shooting him sideways, walking, I'm going to shoot him in the butt. And I pinwheeled it, buried up to the flesh as he went 45 yards and died. The largest. There was like an 80-page thread bashing me on Archery Talk about that one.
and yet the deer died quickly and ethically. So
I think that when you look at ability, right? When you, it's funny. Like, people, if you practice 3 days before season and wound one at 25, you're still a good person. If I hit one at 75 and make a bad shot practice every day of my life, I'm a bad person. They didn't take into any, there a lot of arc to that story, right? There was a lot going on in between there. For 8 yards for me, if you can't make that shot and hit a softball, you probably should not be hunting.
In my 8 yards, that is close, man.
Yeah. With that stick bow, I shot one deer at 4 feet. Shot a couple big oudad, which oudad are kind of not as cool of an animal, but shooting an oudad at 4 and 5 yards, like a 30+ inch ram, I shot a couple of those sub 5 yards. Super cool animals. So yeah, the stick bow was fun. It was an interesting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the oudad, because I've seen on social media you doing a lot with those things. Do you mainly hunt those in Texas? And I know there's some. Actually, I have a couple friends who drew New Mexico, like Barbary sheep tags, which is the same as an audad, I think, right?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. But I know that's a tough hunt, and they're kind of hard to find on public. But basically, is that kind of a private land thing? I know Texas is mainly private land. Like, are there any opportunity for that, or is that a pretty cool hunt?
Yeah, so I guide down there for my buddy and I. We kind of partnered up at Topo Texas Outfitters. So we have one area in North Texas in the Paladero Canyon, and we have another one in the Davis Mountains on the border of Mexico. Both very mountainous. But yeah, it's all private land. I'm not going to shoot a 34-inch ram probably on public land in New Mexico with a recurve. But it's mountainous. It's not over a feeder. We don't dump out corn or. It's spot and stock, hunts. So
cool.
Yeah, public land. No, there's no chance where we're at. There just isn't public land. But we bring in several, about 12 to 15 ram hunters a year down south, about the same up north, and then we have pretty much unlimited ewe tags or females. Females have horns as well. It's kind of an overabundance of them down there. So,
what are the seasons and the cost like on that hunt? Just out of curiosity.
Year round, because they're invasive. You can shoot them at nights with a headlights if you want. We haven't tried that tactic yet, but December, January, February, March is kind of prime time. April, it gets a little hot after that. And then a ewe hunt, it depends on where you go, but like a true free range, like what we have, like a free range, not sitting over corn on a high fence or whatever, like a true spot and stock is usually like $2,500 to $3,000 for a ewe and $6,500 to $7,500 for a ram.
Cool. Interesting. I'm just always curious about different, different opportunities and different types of hunts and stuff. But
I'll say that is the hardest animals to kill.
One of the hardest animals to kill.
Both get close to and get. They like to live. They suck up air. Yeah, I mean they like to live. and they're hard to get close to. So I was told when I hunted way up north, it was kind of rolling hills, wide open. It was impossible to do with a recurve. And I was like, well, I'll give it a whirl. And I ended up shooting a ewe, and I was like, they were right. That was rough. Like that was difficult. I thought I'd stroll in there and not have too much of a problem. And it took 4 days, but what ended up getting it for me was fitness. I ran about a mile ahead of them and waited. I can read animals, if I have, because I don't have great vision. Thank God I can read animals. Ended up getting right in front of them, and they fed by me. Worked out. So
nice. What you mentioned your fitness. Like, how do you train?
Well, I have an amazing gym in my garage. When I lived in Colorado, we lived at 10,000 feet, and
that helps.
My wife would drop me off at the bottom of the mountain with a 50-pound pack, and then I would hike home to dinner. But I always been into lifting, so I lift every morning, and then usually do backpack cardio. Right now, I got a couple broken bones in my right foot. I'm trying to get it healed up before season starts. I mountain bike. I've got a mountain bike that I ride quite a bit, and then I do backpack cardio. I got a rower and a hip mill X. It's kind of a deadlift. It's kind of like a treadmill, I guess.
Cool.
But I do a lot of sets. I used to power lift. I used to be around 280. Now I'm around 210. So I do a lot of super. I'll do like 50 push-ups, 30 dips, 100 crunchies, 50 crunchies, 10 pull-ups, and then 50 air squats, and do that for 20 minutes. For me, that's about all I can take. 20 minutes of that in the morning, 20 at night. You're gonna be pretty fit.
Yeah.
And I do get a kick out, not to get on the fitness thing, but fitness is really so mental. Like, I don't have time to work out. You got time to work out, right? Like,
dude, you can crush yourself in like 5 minutes if you want.
If I integrate the rower, for example, and of course I did purchase the rower, but I didn't want a gym membership, and I easily saved money with this gym, hodgepodging it together. If you, for example, for a workout, built up to it, but you did 25 push-ups, 1 minute rowing as fast as you can, 50 crunchies, 50 air squats, most people can't do 50, 25 air squats, right? And then you grab a curl bar or a band and curl for, let's say, 3 sets of 15. You're done in 15 minutes, like maybe 20.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just that will to, and that mindset, like eating healthy, which is a struggle for me every day. Hey, what do I need to eat that's healthy? Point blank, don't eat anything from the store that's in a package. You're probably going to be healthy. I don't understand the labels. Well, if you can't understand it, don't eat it, right? If it's fresh or frozen, right? Like, it's pretty simple, but it's a matter of, like, people want to know what they can eat that tastes good. But really, like, when you go to dieting, if you ate chicken, some sweet potatoes or brown rice, some broccoli, and a salad, you're going to be pretty fit, right? I mean, and there's a lot more to it, and a lot of people dive into it. But the reality is most humans nowadays stop drinking beer, stop drinking soda, don't drink Gatorade, drink water and electrolyte mix. In the morning when you wake up, eat 3 eggs, right? Don't eat bacon, don't eat whatever. At lunch, have a moderate salad and some tuna, and at dinner, have some chicken breast or steak. You're probably going to have pretty amazing body within the next 6 months. And I don't think people realize that. It doesn't take that much other than the will to do it.
Absolutely. Nutrition is huge. I lost a ton of weight and got fit. And it really started when I really got serious about tracking. And people do overcomplicate it, like you're saying. If you just keep it simple and have the will to do it and do it consistently, you'll definitely see results. What do you love about photography so much, man?
I think the ability to capture a moment in time, the exact way that you saw it for other people to see, and bring them, to that, whether they're at their house or online or whatever, and having that knowing that you were able to do that, to me is just amazing. And there's a few, I posted a reel today of just a bunch of photos in a row that I liked. I don't know if anybody else did, but being able to, like right now, take a photo of you at that desk, where in 20 years you can look back and, man, I remember when I started that podcast with him, whatever, and having a detailed photo of just capturing that moment in time for people to see from your eyes to the camera to the screen or to the print. It's just amazing to me. It's art, and I, I don't have as much time as I'd like to do it, but whether it's catching an arrow in flight or seeing sweat drip off someone's face on a hike or whatever, you're truly capturing time. And years ago, you couldn't do that, and you certainly couldn't do it at the level we are now. You're literally capturing a moment in time for people to see 100 years from now, 50 years from now, and you're able to do it now. You can make books or whatever, where somebody can flip through a coffee table book and be where you were while they're sitting on a couch, and truly, almost be there or understand where you were at, depending. And it's amazing to me, and I guess that would be my quick explanation. So
yeah. I mean, like I said, it's like a little digital time capsule, and I'm more of a video guy, but I get that. I mean, you have to be, video is more almost like spray and pray. You're just getting everything right, and then it comes together in the edit suite. But yeah, like capturing that one, like telling that story with just one frame, it takes a little bit more artistry, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's both very creative. Like I am not a video guy as much, but like if I can capture a guy's face after he shot a whitetail and people are like, oh, that dude's about to fall out of the tree stand, then I did my job. It's easier in some ways to capture that with video, but it's harder with the gear. Like,
yeah,
you don't take a 30-second video. You got to tell a story, right? You may post a video, but I'm telling a story with maybe 1 or 20 photos. You're telling a story with 6 hours of video that you have to snip into 20 minutes. That is harder. Capturing a moment may be more difficult with the camera, but the total package is more difficult with video when you're videoing. And when I say that, like when I get contracted out to do a photo shoot, whether it's someone on a hunt or they're going on some type of an expedition, it's my job from the airport, when we leave to the airport, we get back, for them to have, 2,500 photos to pick from, to capture that, and then to them choose 25 to show their family in a photo album. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, keep it up, man. I like looking at your photos and stuff. So, yeah, man, I think we covered most of the stuff I wanted to hit, and I really enjoyed talking to you. Is there anything else you wanted to mention real quick, or you want to give? I'm sure a lot of people know, but where can people find you if they want to check out more of your stuff?
On Instagram, it's just ARON SNYDER, SNYDER. It's ARON. There's stuff on YouTube, on the KIFARU page on YouTube, the KIFARU Cast podcast. That is explicit. We do cuss on that one. So kids listening in, and I don't know. I guess I would leave like with what we were talking about. I think the most important thing you could do every day when you wake up is try to think of how you can make the world better, not make it worse. And every chance you have to try to help a fellow human, you should probably do that. It'll make the world a better place. And I think we definitely need that right now. So
that's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate it. I really appreciate your time, and enjoyed chatting with you, man.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for having me on. If you ever need anything, feel free to get a hold of me anytime.
Absolutely.